Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank
Everything
you.
well on this first day?
Yes, how's it on your end?
We're just sitting there listening, like everybody else.
As if it's the easiest job on the planet.
But yes, when you walked in, we actually had the pleasure of seeing each other last fall.
We did.
And we got to play the Barber Piano Concerto together in St. Louis, which is one of the orchestras that you have been music director of. What is it like for you to revisit pieces that you know so intimately well, and especially that work? You won the Grammy Award with John Browning and St. Louis.
Well, there are two aspects at this point. I've been around a while now, and so most of the repertoire that I do is revisiting. There are new pieces as well. I like to think that I build on whatever I did last time,
Yes.
but you still need to approach each piece as if you're doing it the first time. That message always came from Tchaikovsky, the great pianist.
Absolutely.
So always walked out before he said, remember, it's always the first time.
Yes. Well, as a, and being the head juror here, but also being a part of the final round in which you're conducting the finalists, how are you balancing your roles?
It's very interesting. I've actually never done a jury or piano competition.
Really?
Closest I come is when I have orchestra auditions. So this is a very different role for me. I came up with an idea in my role as a listener in the first 3 rounds anyway. I came up with a system that I would use for myself in order to evaluate each pianist. Remember, you've got different repertoire. When you audition orchestra members, they all play the same thing. So it's in some degrees a little bit easier. In the final round, I'm actually not voting.
Yeah.
I conduct, but if they haven't come to a consensus, the other 8 members, I'm the tiebreaker. I'm the head of the Senate.
Will you, in a situation like that, will you take into consideration the interactions you've had during rehearsals and such, or do you plan to maintain just...
No, I think at that point I have to. In fact, the other time I was here just conducting, the
2013
jurors
competition.
actually asked me to come up and give my opinion about what it was like to work with them. Because sometimes it's not just about the performer. It is about how each competitor interacts with not only the conductor, but the orchestra as well. Do they listen? This would be the same thing for the piano quintet area. And listening is very much a part of the collaboration process as a pianist. It takes a long time sometimes to learn how to do it.
Yes.
And many people can burn out in that phase, because I remember in the other one that I did, there were 2 pianists who had never played with an orchestra before.
Oh my goodness.
And that becomes a bit of a problem. But other people pick it up right away.
Well, I want to just ask one final large-scale question, just because we're simply running out of time. The last competitor went a bit late. What do you see for the future of classical music? You have been so...
You said you're running out of time.
We're running out of time, I know, but you've been so instrumental in bringing classical music into the future with all the commissions that you've done and
Well,
adventurous programming.
The short answer to this is, it's not going away. And what we're doing is using new technologies to bring a wider and broader audience in. But that being said, well, exactly. But that being said, it's like asking, well, what about museums? Our basic thing in life, in our music, is not about what's new, it's about preserving what exists and creating what will exist in the future. Otherwise, we're an ephemeral situation, like most pop music, but a few songs live on. If classical music, or what we call classical music, is something that survives. It survives the different interpretive process. The notes stay the same. The method of presentation may be a little bit different. But for me, it's about the continuation of a flow, a line that goes. And I don't see that ever disappearing. But by reaching out through new media, through new audiences in nightclubs or wherever it happens to be, at least we have a chance to connect with people. Let them know that this is available to everybody. Not everybody's going to like it, and not everybody needs to like it. Not everybody likes jazz, not everybody likes blues, not everybody likes rock. People gravitate to what moves them.
Exactly.
And that's really all we worry about. So I'm not concerned that much about the future.